All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are tuning in from, which this side. Yes, perfect. So you can see on my right, my left, that we have Juan and Gabby. Give us a wave, guys. Hello. So this is the beginning of season 3 of the Online Hustle podcast. The podcast that not only brings you online content like this, but also in-person events and everything you basically need to know about the whole e-commerce world in one tightly knit together capsule. So this is just a really important and exciting episode, really, because we've now got 3 different hosts, and this is really the reason to introduce these guys. So without further ado, Juan, Gabby, give yourselves an introduction. What do you do? Why are you here? And what can people learn from you?
Absolutely. I'm Gabby, based in the Fort Lauderdale office. We work on the business development side. So assisting sellers with expanding to global markets, strategy, all that good stuff, leading them to the right directions for other things with our network of partners, right? Shipping, product compliance, all kinds of things.
Absolutely. I'm Juan Perez, and I have the exact same goal. Essentially, our office is tailored to all of the people that are at this time zone, so we can add that extra layer of support for everybody that could not necessarily easily communicate with the EU offices because of time constraints, or even just needing to have someone that's closer to home. So awesome to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just to take like a zoomed out approach, obviously, this is the Online Hustle podcast where we talk really freely about everything that's happening in the world of e-com. But of course, behind that, we are powered by Avask, and Avask is underpinning everything here. So anything to do with VAT compliance, expanding overseas, EPR, OSS, iOS testing, rules, regulations when taking your business from one country into new markets. We handle basically all of that. And of course, you guys are really steaming the charge ahead in Fort Lauderdale as well. So I think really we should just give a bit of a brief overview as to everything that's happened since the last time we had one of these introductory episodes, which I did on my own. And obviously that was the state of e-commerce in 2025. And it's not even that long ago, but now that we are in 2026, I think the first thing we should probably talk about is what are the biggest changes that have really impacted sellers? What market shifts have we seen? What new platforms are arising? What are some of the things that sellers are coming to you guys with, like specific questions that you've heard a lot more recently? So yeah, the way, any sort of examples of things that you've had recently that maybe you've not had quite as much before, because I think that shows a dynamic shift in what's happening in the e-commerce industry right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say one of the biggest things I've seen is, especially for US sellers, not understanding EPR, what it is, why you need it, where you need it, and of course authorities and even platforms like Amazon cracking down on it more and more. Since my time at Avask, I've seen Amazon harp on that and be stricter about those rules, especially for certain countries, blocking sellers, removing their listings and stuff without that EPR registration in place. So I do see that as one of the biggest, I guess what sellers here see as like an obstacle, right, to enter the European markets. And like I said, just getting stricter, I think, is one of the big pain points for them.
Yeah, 100%. And I think with that as well, it's interesting now that they're bringing new countries in with EPR all the time. It's almost as though like Germany was the first one where it really started a couple of years back, but now, you know, there's some countries which Amazon are doing pay on behalf under. That obviously expanded last year, where now they're including Belgium and Italy as well, whereas before it was just France and Spain. Whether that gets rolled out further for other countries remains to be, you know, we're yet to see what will happen with that right now. But we also know that they're now going to be doing EPR in some US states as well. So it's even coming across the pond. I believe it's starting with 6 of them. I can't remember all 6 off the top of my head, but I know New York is one. I think Minnesota is one. Colorado. The other 3 escaped me, but I know that it is becoming legislation over there as well. So yeah, that's definitely one thing which is changing quite a lot. Juan, do you have any that come to mind as well?
Well, one of the things that I have seen in just the latest consultations, I feel like that actually spoke to I was speaking at an event the other day with just one of our partners, and they were mentioning how they're seeing a lower barrier to entry. So a lot more people are wanting to expand, and they're going to him for different reasons, just because of his experience in the market and how long he's been around. And the way that he told me was people are trying to just leverage knowledge. And there's so much out there with people that are already doing it or have done it in the past and just putting it out there through social media, that it feels like now it's easier. And it's not all this like weird knowledge that nobody has, that you have to reach out to somebody in Europe. We are so interconnected, and everybody in e-com feels like everybody wants to tell their story now, that it's easier for people to find. If you're a new seller, okay, these are the steps that I know for a fact I need to follow so that I can at the very least get started and then be successful. So I have noticed a shift where a lot of people are avoiding possibly starting in the US because of how crowded the market is, especially if they have one of those niches that's already saturated, and they'll start in the EU just because there's less competition and it's easier to prove successful. And then they'll bring their products back into the US. It's been interesting. That I think has been the standard prior to the end of 2025 and really 2026.
Yeah, I think, yeah. No, I do. And I think, again, just to go back to the previous one that I did when I was talking about e-commerce in 2025, the key thing that was on everybody's minds then was tariffs, because that was the newest thing that come out, and everyone was like, oh my God, like I can't get my products into the US anymore because this has been tariffed. I'm sourcing from China. Some of my components come from Vietnam. Now my margins have been decimated by this new legal framework that's come in. Whereas I feel like now that's kind of subsided a little bit, and people have managed to get around it, either by sourcing from different countries or, like you say, bringing the products over to Europe where they don't necessarily have that tariff overhead that they then have to contend with. So yeah, that is something that I've definitely seen a lot as well. What about like new platforms that you've seen? Have you had anybody who's talked to you about how they get set up on any new platforms that are emerging, or what sort of experience do you have with that?
I mean, I think TikTok Shop is a huge one. Obviously, it's not a new platform, but a lot of sellers are now trying to make that shift to TikTok Shop. Most of them, of course, tend to start like Amazon, Shopify, their own website, and TikTok Shop tends to be something that is now getting added on. And it's interesting because, of course, they have different rules and they facilitate different things for sellers than Amazon or Shopify. So definitely seeing a lot of sellers trying to get on TikTok Shop, but again, not knowing what the difference is in the platforms, what they're going to do, what the requirements are.
So to go off of that, one of the things that the reason why now they're trying this TikTok Shop is, one, they're seeing the success. It's one of those platforms where you can actually be very small and start being known. You started letting your brand be known to all these people, and you have a lot more reach because it is as social media first and then in marketplace second. So it gives you an outreach that you don't necessarily have with something like Amazon or Bolt.com or eBay. And now that Europe has opened its doors to all of this, people are seeing, okay, I'm creating community. I'm doing the outreach by posting videos. I don't necessarily have to do a bunch of other ads on top of that because I'm already doing ads through social media. I'm leaving money on the table. So absolutely, that's one of the biggest things that we've seen. Everybody wants to now get into TikTok Shop, where asking, what is that TikTok thing that you talked to me about?
Oh, yeah. It's funny as well because I made a video that went up on my own personal LinkedIn a little while back when I was at an event in Utah, and I was not very bullish on TikTok Shop at all in that video. I was talking about like how it seems like a trend, how it seems like a fad, how I don't think it's really got the staying power, and I've definitely eaten my words on that. Like I've just seen people that are coming around to it, and I think it's interesting because on that video I was just talking about how it's a good discovery tool, but are people actually buying through there? Because it's one of those things where, you know, you flick your phone up and it's almost instantaneous. Like as soon as anybody gets bored, they just get their phone out, right? And then they just go for a little scroll. They'll see some memes, they'll see some videos that they like, and then maybe they see a product and that product is obviously targeted to them through this algorithm, and they may or may not have interacted with something that's like that before. But the fact that you can show a product in this visual form and like advertise it in a way where you can see the immediate benefits of having this item in your life, and then you can just click directly through to that and then buy it there and then. I think that signals a really interesting dynamic shift, like a paradigm shift in the way that we operate as a society, because now you just get fed things that you just buy on a whim like that. Whereas, you know, we're all kind of like late 20s, early 30s. We're a lot more used to this form of consumerism whereby you might go to a store, you might find a product that you like, you might then go, I'm not going to buy it in the store because I'm going to shop around online afterwards. So you kind of already find what you like in maybe a physical store, and then afterwards you do the research, you'll compare prices and then buy it. Whereas now there seems to be a bit more of a shift towards sort of instantaneous purchases. I don't know if that's aimed more to a younger audience or if it's just overall convenience, but as I was saying, when it first came out, when people were first talking about TikTok Shop, I wasn't very hot on it, but now it seems as though more and more people are taking it up, and it's just funny the fact that I got it so wrong, you know?
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I think society as a whole now we have this need for instant gratification, right? And I feel like a lot of that started with Amazon many years ago. And now other platforms and sellers are trying to compete with that, right? Like when you shop online, if something doesn't have Prime, for example, you kind of second guess, like, do I really want this? Do I want to wait that long? At that point, at least for myself, where I'm like, at that point, I'll just go to the store and buy it if I have to wait a week to receive it. And so I think that instant gratification is part of, the issue, and not just in our age range, but it's society as a whole, right? Like even my parents. And to the other point of TikTok Shop, and to Juan's point, is like the fact that it is embedded with social media, I think is what makes it so, trendy, right? When people, especially our generation, younger generation, it's social media, right? That's how you consume your news. That's how you figure out what's going on in the world. And so when products are connected to that platform, I think it just makes it, one, a lot more convenient, and two, a lot more appealing.
Yeah, but I don't want to take credit away from what TikTok has been doing, because they actually created a marketplace that can fulfill it. Now that they're doing fulfillment by TikTok, it's going to really push further. And I do remember a couple of years ago that Instagram tried to do the same thing, and you could buy things off of Instagram, and it flopped immediately because it sucked. And honestly, nothing bad against Instagram. Everybody still uses it, but it's not as easy a discovery tool. Most people use TikTok to post everything, test it out, and then they curate and post whatever was successful on Instagram. Same thing happens with the way that they're running their businesses. You can add all of your products to TikTok Shop. People are scrolling, and then people, let's say an influencer, sees your product, uses it, likes it, and now they can sell it. And you have a bunch of other and essentially distributors that are selling your product without actually holding inventory. They're just doing free ads for you because they'll get a commission off of whatever sales. So it's a multiplying effect that you don't necessarily get from other platforms. I can see why you were not too hot on it, because looking at historically, first of all of the different things that were going against TikTok, between trying to get it out of the US, not wanting it to be controlled by China, and all this whole political aspect of it, that once we take it out, it was just historically, you see Instagram, it failed. Why wouldn't TikTok fail? You already have all the stallions here in the US. You have Walmart, you have Target, you have Amazon, you have everything. Everything can be bought online. So why are we going to buy from TikTok? So I think it goes to what Gabby just mentioned. It's that instant gratification. We're in the attention economy. So anytime that we can grab your attention and I can sell you on the spot, that's it. That's how you do business. Because otherwise, you're going to go on to the next shiny thing and buy that. So if I don't get you, then I lose you as a client forever. And that's the way they see it. And I have to be abrupt. I have to interrupt the pattern. And the moment that I have you, if I don't sell you there, I'm never going to see you again. You're never going to find this account. So I feel like that's why they have been successful, because they have found those pattern interruptions, and they're able to grab your attention, stop you from scrolling. And you're like, do I need this? Probably not, but I'm going to buy it anyways.
Yeah, right. But also, I feel like there's probably a trickle-down effect where, if somebody was selling like that cup, for example, and you see that on TikTok Shop, and that's just a video that you scroll past and you go, I would really like a cup like that. Maybe you don't necessarily buy through TikTok Shop, then you search for a cup like that through Amazon. So you then use the discovery tool that you've got with TikTok Shop, apply that newfound knowledge of that product being out there, and then you go into Amazon, you look for things like that. I'm sure that there are some Amazon sellers that have probably seen a benefit by having something similar to somebody who has got a really popular viral product on TikTok Shop as well. So it's not as though like you are stuck just to that platform. There will be like a crossover bleed between the two where people are seeing success from somebody else's video that they put out on TikTok too.
Absolutely. And one of the things, just because you just mentioned that, when the power of it is when you go and find something on Amazon, it might just be at retail price. And I don't know how many times you've thought about this, but I know I do now. Every time that I'm doing my research, I'm going to buy something, I go on TikTok Shop and see if they're selling it, because 90% of the time they have some crazy sale going on for whatever reason, but they're pushing for it. So you can buy the same product from Amazon for, 10, 20, 30% less sometimes. It really depends on what's going on. So it's interesting that sometimes it's, okay, I can buy it off of TikTok Shop at 30% discount, but I'll get it in a month. Or I can just buy it at retail from Amazon and get it tomorrow, or overnight, or if it's early enough, I'll get it this afternoon. So it's really, like you said earlier, it's like that battle for convenience and attention. How can it get to your bike quickly, and how can it be so convenient that you have no reason to refuse? And it's crazy, it's scary, honestly.
What do you think about some of the new things that I suppose before we get onto a different topic, one thing I do want to mention is that TikTok Shop, and I'm sure you guys have obviously dealt with it as well, there are obviously some other legal complications that come with it in terms of, if you want to have TikTok Shop in the US, you've got to have a US company. You've got to have somebody who can provide their social security number as part of the authorization process. Same thing for the UK. If you want TikTok Shop in the UK, you've got to have a UK company to do that. Without plugging Avast too much, at Avast we can help you with that. There are some other countries in the EU where TikTok Shop is really popular as well. Again, if you want TikTok Shop in Germany, you need a German company. If you want it in Italy, you need an Italian company. It's really plain and simple, but it's just to do with like TikTok authentication rules. So that's one thing that we should probably touch on before we move on. Anything else on TikTok Shop before us switching up?
No, I want to say, from just historically, if you remember the arbitrage era in Amazon, that was the golden days, as most people call them, where you could sell anything and everything. Go to Walmart clearance or any other of these big box stores, buy something in clearance and just resell it. That boom that you saw on Amazon in the early days, that's what we're seeing on TikTok right now. So having that actual crossing where you have your Amazon store and you start selling and you start doing not even ads, but you start putting your products, your process, just how you're making it to where you're at through the TikTok, through having your products in TikTok Shop, is going to expose you to a whole different demographic, and it's going to help you grow, because if it's not sales through Amazon, then you have a different channel, or you can guide them from there back to your main store in Amazon. So I feel like it's a win-win either way. It's like one of the biggest things that people haven't really capitalized on is that having multiple channels. I feel like everybody gets stuck in that convenience bubble where they either do Shopify or they do Amazon, they do both, they do Allegro. They do whichever one treats them best, or at whichever one they've been doing the longest, because they don't want to just have to start over with a different platform. But I feel like they're leaving a lot of possibilities for growth. I know it requires resources, it requires time, it requires research, and probably spending large. But when you have a proven successful product, why not take one of those successful products and expand them the same way that you would put them in Germany, in the UK, in Australia. You can put them on TikTok Shop and just see how it fares. And it's posting a couple of videos, adding a couple of ads, and then getting a couple of influencers to start doing videos on it. What's the worst that could happen? You start having a successful TikTok Shop store. So I feel like we're at that stage where you have a lot of potential because it's so new. Yeah, there's a lot of competition, but it's also where now I feel like Amazon back in the day was very loose on the way that they were enforcing the rules and the way that things could get done. You could sell products without permissions from the brands, again, because there was no structure in place, where now Amazon's a lot stricter and TikTok isn't. So you do have guidelines in place, but there is so much room for you to play with so that you can get your bearings and actually just start running.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like Amazon's probably recognized some of the quote unquote threat from TikTok Shop as well, because they've been super pushy on getting more people to make videos for their products too. Because I think they realize just how well seeing an item in the flesh, so to speak, but like seeing what an item actually does above and beyond just images. Because, you know, so many people like try and put sneaky things in the images in the buy box of the products. So like they'll put USA made there and that'll get flagged, or they'll put like multiple versions of products and that'll get flagged. So people are trying to be a bit more intuitive about how they advertise the items that they've got. And then, you know, now when you scroll through images, you'll often see that there's a video on the back end of it. Well, at least you will for like the best sellers on Amazon. And I think some of that, and there's no evidence to prove this, but it's just my own personal opinion. But I think some of that is because Amazon have recognized that, you know, showing a video of something sells it much better, because you can then see what it does, you can see the features, you can see if it's a book, it opens up, you can see if you've got shoes with 2 pairs of laces, you can see how you can change them, or whatever features the specific product has, you can see how that works in action. And that's invaluable. You know, gone are the days of, like, did you guys have it as well when you used to have like teleshopping in the US, like QVC? Do you know what that is? Right? But it's like, hey, we've got this mouse today. We've got 5 of these mouse left. And it's like, there'd be somebody on screen like showing you how it worked, call this number, buy the product. TikTok Shop is basically that, but in the digital age. And it's just interesting how like these things shift. It's a bit like fashion. It's like, you know, I've got an 80s haircut, but that if I had that 10 years ago, I'd look stupid. But now it's kind of like the dumb, you know, it's cyclical, it comes in cycles. But no, I was going to talk as well about some of the things that you guys are probably going to mention when you have guests on. So obviously, part of the reason for this podcast is to obviously introduce you guys. But what do you have coming up for season 3? What are some of the things that you want to get into the nitty gritty with some of your brand owners, some of your entrepreneurs who you're going to have on? What are some of the things you want to talk to them about?
Yeah, so from my side, I'm going to be doing a whole range of different kinds of content, right? So talking to agencies, like EPR Media, for example, about, you know, what the pitfalls are for agencies and sellers, how different changes in Amazon, Shopify, different kinds of platforms are affecting both agencies and sellers. Also reselling, the differences between reselling and arbitrage and drop shipping, wholesalers, right? The different kinds of areas that you enter into this industry. And also AI, right? Like Yuka AI for TikTok Shop. Why sellers are using AI, how they're using it, and how that's going to benefit them in this technology age, right, moving forward.
Yeah, mine is kind of similar. So the idea is for us to really have a broad spectrum on how can we bring guests that are going to help the hustlers? How can they really get some value? So I have one scheduled with Nadab, for example, from Capex. And even though his main business is helping other Amazon e-commerce sellers or just e-commerce in general get more funding, I want our conversation to be about his experience as a seller first, and then it's how he can help with the business that he's created from issues or from needs that he's seen over the years. So I'm more interested in seeing how he's seen this scene change, essentially. Same way that you did last year, saying, okay, what's the state of e-commerce? Hey, listen, you've been doing this for a long time. How have you seen this change over time? I also have Josh that I'm going to be talking to him about just refunds. I have a couple of guests from agencies that we're going to talk about logistics, how they can help Amazon sellers get started or solve different types of issues. So there's going to be a couple that are very Amazon oriented, and then some just very broad e-commerce. How can you really maneuver this new environment? But I feel like one of the biggest things that everybody wants to talk about is definitely AI, how it's shaping 2026 e-commerce and just business in general.
Absolutely. And then I suppose on that, you were talking about pitfalls then, and things that sellers should actually look out for. So in your own experience, what do you think are some of the things that people should be looking out for? I know we're super early in 2026 right now, so it's so hard to predict, because genuinely, by the time we get to Q4, the whole scenario will be completely different. So I would don't do what I did with the TikTok thing and just like talking bad about it and then have to eat your words. Like, just being super vague so that you can get the least amount of stuff wrong. What do you think are some of the pitfalls that you're seeing right now that people should probably be aware of if they're just getting started, or maybe they're looking at a new market and they don't know how to operate in that new market just yet?
Yeah, I'd say definitely, at least on the Amazon side, right, being aware of all the changes that they're always making, recent changes on ads and stuff, different regulations, opening new FBA centers, right, taking advantage of those opportunities. Like, for example, even last year when they opened that new FBA center in Ireland, and they did a whole promotion where if you sign up with a service provider like us, they'd give you pre-registration and tax filings for 2 years. I'm sure they're going to continue doing this, right, as they continue expanding into other countries where they don't have FBA centers already. So just keeping an eye out on different changes like that they could benefit from those opportunities.
Yeah. And there was a similar thing the year before. There was Ireland, which was the big focus for 2025. Sweden was the big focus for 2024. So now that those markets are established, Amazon's got the FBA centers over there. I think one of the things is that the US and Amazon are obviously so interconnected. That's where Jeff Bezos is from originally, but it's all kind of new in Europe. Not new, but like in some of the more established Western European countries, like obviously the UK is very similar to the US, but still kind of has that tie to the EU. Amazon is really, really popular here. It's really popular in France, but not as much. And it's really popular in Germany. But there are still these like smaller outlying countries where Amazon is not tremendously popular, because there are other platforms like Juan, you alluded to earlier with Allegro and Bol. Like Allegro is super popular in Poland. Bol is the main one that everybody uses in the Netherlands. And Amazon is kind of in second place sometimes in those countries. And I think some US sellers don't often consider that because of how popular Amazon is over in the United States. And I don't know myself, like, where the next fulfillment center is going to be opened. Are we going to see one in Slovakia? Are we going to see them in Slovenia? Are they going to be in Croatia? Is it going to be Romania? I don't know. And well, I can, Gabby, to your point, I can see potentially new markets opening up where people can store their products and where new FBA opportunities will be opening in Europe in the not too distant future. What about you?
But one of the biggest things this year is going to be actually bridging that gap to Europe. A lot of people have been hesitant, and now with all the AI tools that are out there, actually doing the jump and start excelling in the EU, it's easier than ever. Before, one of the biggest constraints was lack of knowledge. Not knowing how to speak the languages, or not knowing how to do a lot of things. And we're so close to being able to do everything just by clicking what button and telling it what to do, that it's lowering the barrier. We used to be somewhere here where you had to do so many different things, and now you really just have to focus on fiscal compliance, product compliance, or localization. For like those three things, if you can take care of everything so that you're compliant. You're not going to get into a problem with the tax authorities. If you make sure your product follows guidelines for the local market you're selling or the local community, and then you make sure that you're localizing it, so you're maximizing for actual people to find your product, and you're not just, translating it, because there is a difference. I feel like you're going to have so much more success, and you're not going to find those pitfalls that we're talking about. Because when you look back, what is it that most people do? They'll go with what they know, what's basic. They'll go for Amazon, and people stick to the UK because, we speak the same language, so I don't have to do anything. But even then, you still have to localize it, because it might be one of those niche products that you call differently in the UK. And you just have a different slang word that it's used to refer to that type of product, that if you use it when creating your listing, you're going to be so much more successful. So it's those little tweaks that I feel like most people overlook, because they'll say, oh, don't worry, I'll just do it with AI and I'll just translate it into French. And then they just have very formal French and they are not localized. So it's not intended for somebody from France or somebody that is just from the middle of nowhere in France to see, it's not. So those are the very small details that make a difference over the long run. We're at a stage where you can get all that done. You have all the resources and information. You just have to really take action and make sure that you're not just forsaking one of those.
I think localization is such a funny one, because it's things that to you guys don't, and it works both ways. But like, here's an example. So in the UK, we would call something that a baby sucks on a dummy. But if you in the US search dummy, you're going to get those books that come up and say like 101 e-commerce tips for dummies. Whereas like, if I was having a child, I would never go on Amazon and search for a pacifier. But like, to you guys, that's what you would call a dummy, So it's the same thing. Nobody in the UK is going searching for pacifiers because it just wouldn't get found. So yeah, when people are moving their listings over from the US to UK, they've got to be considerate of these things, because if they want to be visible to their potential customers, they've got to nail these things. So it's worth having somebody who can at least check the specifics of the language, so that that you're not writing something that nobody's ever going to search for. Because then when you months into your sales and you're like, why has nobody bought my product? It's cheaper than anything else. Then you go,
find it.
I clicked the dummy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But guys, I think I don't want to spoil it. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to ruin all the surprises that you've got in store for our listeners. So unless there's anything else that you guys want to mention right now, I'll leave it to you. I'll leave it there.
Well, I'm curious to hear what you think are going to be the pitfalls and what you think 2026 is going to look like.
This is why we want to present as well. See, look at that.
If you're going to eat your words at the end of this year as well.
Oh, what do I think are some of the things that people need to be aware of? I think one of the things that's really interesting now, and it's only just happened, but there is ChatGPT, which is now allowing people to buy products within the platform. And it looks as though Amazon doesn't have the contract for that. And if you're searching for products, and let's again, using the example of the cup, because it's the first thing that's closest to me. But if I say, hey, ChatGPT, I want a black cup. I don't want Stanley brand, because this is a different brand. We'll spin that around so nobody knows what it is, because we don't want product placement. But if I want this cup, I want it to be delivered to my house in Southampton within 3 days. I want to spend less than £40 on it. Then it's going to show me a wide variety of different products. Obviously, some are going to be more tailored to me than others, but it's for now at least that Amazon doesn't have the contract with ChatGPT. So it seems as though it's now just showing you products which are from Shopify, Google Shopping Results, and other platforms which are just out there on the World Wide Web. So how much of a difference that is going to play into the way that people shop and discover products remains to be seen. I think it's tremendous, to be honest, because people use ChatGPT for everything. Create me an image, write my annual review at work. Like, why is my dog getting fat? Be my therapist. All sorts of different stuff. Of course, people are using it to shop as well. People are using it for price comparisons. People are using it to find out what are the specific features that each item has. How can I compare them? What's going to be the best me and my needs? So I think that is the really big thing, and I think there'll be a lot of winners that come from this ChatGPT revolution, and also ChatGPT adverts which are rolling out as well. The fact that now there's going to be advertisements in it, I think that's because OpenAI have realized that it's pretty much a loss leader at the moment. There's no way that they can actually generate revenue because the amount of people that use ChatGPT on premium is like 2% or 4% or some really small number. Basically not covering the overheads at the moment. So it's just like Instagram, where once upon a time there was no ads, now there's ads. That's the way they're generating revenue. So there's all these different things. Are people going to jump to ChatGPT to put their adverts for their products on there so they can generate more sales? Maybe, probably. I don't know. I do think that is the main thing. So AI-driven discovery. I can't say what countries are going to be next. I think with the amount of sellers that I speak to, it would probably be maybe Hungary, maybe Romania. I don't know. But they seem to be the ones which I get the most inquiries from. So it would make sense if I was Amazon to maybe look at storing there. But I'm trying to be as vague as possible because I don't want to eat my words, like I said.
No, I guess time will tell, and we'll be able to see once the year ends.
Yeah, and then when we get to season 4, and we all get on here and we go, well, I was wrong about that, I was wrong about this. Well, like you said, only time will tell. But yes, guests, listeners, anybody who's been watching this, thank you very much for tuning in. As I say, we have Juan Andres Perez Blanco and we have Gabriela Hierro, who will be 2 of our new hosts for season 3 of the Online Hustle. I hope you all learned something today. I hope you all enjoyed it, and make sure that you subscribe and listen to the rest of them. Thanks a lot.